Alright, we are back with another video. Today we're going to talk about this. Now this, you might realize, is something from an Icom, and it plugs into an RJ45 socket. That belongs to an IC400, of which I have a couple. Both of these used to belong to my late brother, and along with this scanner here. Now, in one of my vehicles, as an emergency communications, I have one of these Icoms. It's locked down to 5 watts. But so it's to be compliant with the UHF band, but it is set up for 433 megahertz. Now, this one of recently, when I push the button, is very intermittent unless you push the button quite firmly. A fault with these is the tactile switch fails on them quite often. So we're going to try and change the tactile switch. Alright, we're going to remove a couple of screws here. This one I'd already started before I started filming. And we're going to stick them in with a magnet. Off memory, pretty sure these are both the same length, and careful not to get your hands too close to the magnets. They rip the screwdriver out of your hand. Alright, there we go. I have this lead hanging loose. We're going to hang that back up again, out of the way. Alright, now this, we didn't even need a spudger. Pretty sure my brother's been in here before. We have 2 shells, you can peel them apart easily. This, I'm pretty sure this little assembly just lifts out if you're careful. There's our little rubber button, and there's our tactile switch on a standoff. Now the question will be, do I have one of these types in my kit? So before I go to the trouble of removing these 3 little screws and pulling the board out, we're going to see if I've got an appropriate tactile switch. In amongst my many boxes full of spare parts, one here that has an assortment of tactile switches, which is going to probably require a pair of tweezers. So I don't think any of these have the side standoff like that, although that looks like a standard one that's got a little clip on it. We may be able to pop that off the clip and substitute the parts. This could get a bit tricky, or I could buy the correct switch. Although, wait a minute, I have a whole extra collection of tactile switches. I have some big jumbotron ones here. They might even actually fit the spot, you know. That might even, you know what, these are probably going to be more robust. They're going to be the same pinout. I mean, they're just a contact closure. So what we're going to do first is just have a bit of an experiment, see if what we've got will fit that spot. I might even test the switch first. That might be sensible. It could be just simply dry solder joints. Alright, so I've removed the 3 small screws from here. We're going to just gently tap, push some buttons here. Now this one's been around a while. I don't know how well this membrane is. It might get a wash in some warm soapy water in a bit. Now I want to make sure this comes out gently. Now that rubber pad is definitely restricting things. This is looking a little dusty. We will separate that membrane pad out and clean them bits later. What we want to look at is this. Yes, this has definitely had some work before. The switch may have been a problem in the past. So what we can probably do, we can plug it in its current state, and I can test the tactile button without too much effort. This is your microphone, by the way. And there are LEDs in here, surface mount LEDs for the backlight. They are in theory replaceable, not that I'd like to try and do that. It also looks like there's been a bit of rework here. My brother might have redone the RJ45 socket there. So I think he's done this switch before. Okay, I've got the test leads hooked up here. If I push this switch, it's not beeping, which is not good. So that's sure they should beep. Yep. Should it go across those? Oh, we had a bit of light feedback through that one. So one's already grounded there, so something doesn't look good for this switch anyway. Alright, so I have this set up for testing. In the background is the 12 volt supply that the radio is on. If I push this button, we are clearly transmitting. We're pulling 6 amps to transmit. I think that's on the high power band. I better dial that back. But yes, clearly we are getting transmit switch on here just fine. This is working okay. I'll probably need to give these batteries a charge in the morning. I think the button's okay. I think it's just the rubber bumper on it. Right, at the very least we need to clean this anyway. So let's give this a warm soapy wash and a gentle one. And all the other bits and pieces. Wash all the dust out of it. One of the problems with the soft top Land Rover, things get full of dust. Alright, so from what I'm gathering with this, this is the little interface bumper. So when I'm pushing that, sometimes it clicks firmly, sometimes it clicks intermittently. This doesn't seem too stiff, it seems alright. So the button might be gone, but it does seem to be reliable. So, yeah, I don't know. So what I observe about this switch is there's these two little clips holding this in. There's two little pins slide off the bottom. And there's this backing slot here with two little pins under here. I think this is just a standard tactile switch that has just clipped onto this and slotted in there. I could probably swap that out for another tactile switch. And it does feel like it's okay, but I would like to replace it anyway. Now my conundrum here is this little button here and this little microphone here could be the difference between me getting the help I need and nothing at all. So definitely something I want to take some care with. I could put some contact cleaner through it and see if that helps. Okay, we're going to put some contact cleaner through it, I think, to start with. So I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to try and get a bit in underneath the little detent switch, or the detent bit on there, force a little bit in. We'll work it around a bit. Just a little flex disc under there. Should work. Now, meanwhile, I've made sure that that radio is in low power, because we don't want to kill the house batteries at the moment. Alright, that looks alright. It's starting to crisp up a little bit now that I've been doing that. It does feel a bit more reliable. Meanwhile, the parts that I cleaned have been drying. And don't mind the bender burps in the background. It is just Zim who's watching on stream while I do this stuff too. We have been getting into Minecraft together in a server called Arcadia. Now this pad, I've cleaned this mostly okay. There is a bit of yellowing, which would have been the tar from my brother's hands. He's no longer with us. He was a fairly prolific smoker. Something I have fortunately not inherited from him. Right, we're going to put this back in. And in the words of Dave from EEV blog, our rubber baby buggy bumper can go in there. And this can go in. I'll put our 3 screws back on in a minute. That's got a really nice crisp click now. Maybe there was just a bit of tobacco tar in it. I don't know. We'll put our 3 screws back in, which are these short ones here. And they go back in the back of that. And we'll be back in a moment. Now the decision I've made, being as I have 2 of these radios, the one that's inside here has a really reliable handset. So I have swapped that out with the one in the 4-wheel drive. In case of emergencies, I'm much more confident that will work. This one can now live inside. Now if you're putting this back in, you put the top in first, lever it down and then drop the side in. You can hear that. It's a nice clicky button. Let's turn the air down so it's not in the microphone. Good crisp click. Okay, now we put our halves together like this. Okay, still firm click. Push the halves firmly together, I hope. There we go. That feels very good. Let's put our last 2 screws in. Right, the last 2 screws going in. Remember, with these things, especially old things that have plastic bosses in them like this with screws, don't over tighten them. You notice I'm using 2 fingers on here. You just go till it hits its normal stop spot. You don't need to recut into the boss or anything like that. You just need it to be firm. That sounds pretty good. Let's do a test. In comes this. Now I have changed to the UHF channel. Before I was not on a UHF channel. I was on a private channel with higher EIRP allowances. Now we're on UHF CB, which should be 5 watts. and 4 amps is a bit better. So we are definitely transmitting, much more reliably. Let's see if we can get through to a repeater on this. Right, we're going to attempt to contact a repeater. Okay, I'm getting a repeater tail back. Alright. Yeah, just fix me microphone. Can any station give me a radio check, please? Yeah, radio check. Anybody around the ways? Yeah, she's a quiet night up there. Well, thanks anyway, guys. Alright, so nobody's talking at the moment. Done a full scan of the UHF band. Hang on. Hang on a minute. Hey guys, couldn't get a radio check, could I? Just put a new microphone on. Right, plan B. It's the middle of the night. We're going to go to another Land Rover that has a radio in it, and we're going to fire that up. This is a different one. Can we fire you up? I forget how to fire this one up. There we go. And this one's got a password. There we go. Now we need to dial a channel up. No, where are we? Channel 22 should do. Alright, I'll leave this recording and I'll go and make a test transmission.
Test 1, 2, 3. Is my voice clear? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now we go inside and see if it worked. Okay, so it seems like the microphone's working quite well. The other weak point in these is actually this lead here. So we might actually replace that. And actually something my brother did quite some time ago is actually replace it with a network lead. It's just a straight through network lead. So that may be something I do as well. That is usually something I do have on board. I have RJ45 connectors and a bit of Cat5 and some crimpers on me. So in a pinch I could probably make one up or even re-terminate one of these in the field. So in fact I have the through type connectors now. So these ones were the older ones where you had to push them up and butt them against that surface. I have some other ones that makes re-terminating these much easier. I have these ones which actually have holes in the end. So what you do with these is you actually thread your wires all the way through and you use a set of crimpers that has a blade and it cuts them off. It makes re-terminating these sort of things with non-solid copper much easier. So yeah, certainly I may re-terminate the connectors, although the cable in the other vehicle is getting a little old. I might be able to find a replacement. I used to work for a comms company that might even have some of these on the shelf. I'll have to go and talk to them. But yeah, anyway, I think we know that this works. We're happy about it. You now know about the anatomy of an Icom HM-133 handset. So I think that's the end of the video. We'll see you all in another one, and hope you had fun.